If you're feeling inspired and you are ready to start a podcast, I'm here to tell you, you don't need to pay for any podcast services. You can start your own podcast 100% for free. All you need is 3 things. You need an account with Internet Archive, you need a Google account for a blogger, and you need a Google account for Feedburner. So I guess that's technically 2 things. All you really need is a little bit of time and some patience, and you can do this yourself. Yo, this is your friendly neighborhood knucklehead, and I'm gonna walk you through how I've been running my podcast for the last 10 years. And in the podcast description, you can see links to my podcast if you want to check that out. But in this video, we're going to walk you through how you can set up your own podcast. Now, first, I'm going to walk you through how to set up your show. Then we'll look at how you can upload your first ever episode. And lastly, we'll go over how to upload your podcast to services like iTunes or Spotify. But before we get started, I just want to go over what conceptually is happening when we are setting up a podcast. So first, when we record audio, we're gonna have that on our computer. It'll be like an MP3. We need to get that audio from our computer uploaded onto the internet. And we're gonna use the service Internet Archive to host our audio for our podcast episode. Then we're going to take that audio and put it into a Blogger blog post, and that's going to add all the metadata, the episode title, the episode description, any information about that audio is going to be attached in the blog post. And then once we've posted that new blog with that audio, it's going to send information to Feedburner, which is our RSS feed, which then tells podcast platforms like Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever, it will tell them that, hey, there's a new episode, here it is. And that Feedburner URL that we're going to set up later on is going to be what we use to personalize our show, like having our podcast title, our podcast description, and of course, our podcast image. But for right now, let's jump in and set up our podcast show. Okay, so first up, I'm going to assume you have a Google account and you're setting up Blogger for the first time. And if you open up Blogger, it will be blogger.com, as you can see up here. That's where you're going to go and sign into your Google account. You should be looking at a page like this because you don't have a blog yet. So the first thing we're going to do is create blog, and this is going to be the name of your podcast. So my podcast, or whatever you want the name to be. And then you're going to choose a URL. So this is going to be mypodcastname.blogspot.com. Whatever you want your URL or your podcast name to be, this is going to be it. But I warn you, I think when you set this up, you can't really change it. So make it count, make the name what you really want it to be. Once you've created the name for your podcast on Blogger, you should be looking at a page similar to this. You don't have any posts yet because you don't have any podcast episodes. But the next thing that we're going to do is click over here where it says view blog. Now, this is what my podcast looks like. Don't worry, you don't need a theme or you don't need anything to look a certain way. You don't even need to have episodes yet. This is just what my Blogger feed looks like. And what we're going to do is we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom to where it says subscribe to posts Adam. What we're going to do next is right click where it says posts, and we're going to hit copy link address. Very important. We want to copy the link, and you can even see right there in the bottom corner right here, that is the link that we are copying. It should end in posts/default. All right, so now from Blogger, we're going to transition into Feedburner. It should be feedburner.google.com is the website, and we're going to paste in that URL that we copied from Blogger. Essentially, what we're doing is we're taking our episode feed and we're going to combine it with Feedburner, which is going to be our podcast show feed. So we're going to paste this URL in here. We're going to hit next. And then we're going to come up with our proxy, the name of your podcast, and then you can actually customize the URL, my podcast name feed, or something like that. You can do whatever it is that you want to personalize this. And then we're going to hit create. Now, after we've created the Feedburner URL, we're going to want to go in and personalize. This is what Spotify or iTunes or Apple Podcasts, this is the information that they get about your show. So you're typing in your feed title, your description, down here, iTunes tags. This is going to be where you categorize your podcast, fill all this out to the best of your ability. Now, the other thing here is if you want an image for your podcast, your image needs to be on the internet somewhere. So when you create your podcast logo or something, you're going to want to upload it to a place like Imgur, or however you say that. And then it's going to look like this. So this is my podcast logo. I've uploaded it to Imgur, whatever. I right click it. I say copy image address, I believe. And then boom, I paste it here. It should end in JPG. That's what it should end in, your URL to your image. Once you've put in all your show information, you can come back and hit save changes. You will also be able to come back and edit things about your show that you want to change. So if you want to change your podcast keywords, even if you want to change your podcast image, you can come back and edit your feed here in this Feedburner website. Last step to fully set up our show is in Blogger. So let's go back to our Blogger account and let's click settings. Once we're there, you can put in some information like your description and your title, but really what we need to do is scroll all the way to the bottom here and make sure that this is active. Enable title and enclosure links. Very important. That's going to be what allows each podcast episode to have audio. And just like that, you have set up your show to start uploading podcasts. So let's get into uploading our very first episode. Now we're going to go to archive.org and you're going to want to set up your account with Internet Archive. It's 100% for free. This is what you should see when you go to Internet Archive and you are signed in. Now, side note, I know that this is supposed to be setting up your podcast 100% for free, but as you can see up here, Internet Archive runs on donations. So when you have your podcast set up and you like what's going on, I really encourage you to chip in and donate to the Internet Archive. I usually throw them some bones every holiday season, which is coming up now. So if you have the means, definitely chip in with Internet Archive so that they can host your audio and host everyone else's audio. But now what we want to do first is go up and click upload. This is where we are going to upload our audio for our podcast. So we'll click upload files and choose files to upload, and you find where your audio is. So here this is my list of all my podcasts, all that I've done. This is the last episode I did, which is 168. So that's the audio right here, MP3, that I'm going to upload for my next episode. Once you're on this screen, this is where you can personalize your episode title, your URL for this audio, and you can add your podcast description, your subjects. I would definitely put your name or the name of your podcast as the creator, just in case you need to find this audio later on. When you upload your show to archive.org, it will be there forever. Even if 5 years have gone by and episodes are no longer showing up on your Spotify or your podcast platforms, you can direct people to your Internet Archive page and they can see podcast episodes and audio from decades upon decades ago. So you're going to want to put in all this information as accurately as you can. Now, personally, what I do is I put all of my episode information in Blogger first, and then I copy and paste that into the Internet Archive. So I will go to Blogger here, I'll click New Post, and instead of writing it all out, I'll just show you what my last episode was. So I'll type in my episode title, I'll type in here my episode description with hyperlinks, and then I will copy and paste this into the Internet Archive. Do not upload or publish your episode when you do this yet. Make sure your Internet Archive is uploaded first. So once I get all this information, like copy here, paste it here, put in the show title, I will click upload and create my item. After a few moments, when your episode is uploaded to Internet Archive, this is the type of thing that you should be looking at here. You should have your audio up here. If you hit play, this is your episode audio. Now, what we do next is we're going to look for download options here, and we're going to look for which one says MP3, and that's right here. That's the audio to your show. So we're going to right click that and we're going to hit copy link address. Again, you can see in the bottom right corner here, bottom left corner here, that this is what the link is directly to that audio. So we copy link address. We're going to go back into our Blogger post here. And now that we have all the show notes, all that's left to do is package it with the audio. So we're going to go to links here and we're going to paste right here. I already had it here. So it should look like this. Enclosure links, we're going to paste that audio. We're going to hit tab and it's going to say audio MPEG. This is what it looks like when you paste in that MP3 from archive.org. And then the last step would be to go up here and click publish. And with that, your show has been uploaded. Your podcast, your new episode is now uploaded onto your show. And here's the very, very last step when you are uploading a new episode to your show, and it comes from Feedburner. So let's open Feedburner now and find our proxy. This is my podcast. We're going to click more options and refresh feed. Do this after every single podcast that you upload. Every single new episode that you upload, immediately refresh the feed. That is going to tell all the podcast platforms, hey, there's a new episode. This is how you will manually do it instead of waiting for them to figure out, oh, this show has a new episode. No, you tell them right away, I've uploaded a new show, refresh the feed. Now you have the quickest possible opportunity for everybody to get that new episode immediately. All right, so now we have a show. Now we've uploaded our first episode. Next and lastly is to upload our show to Apple and Spotify. First off, it's the same process with both Apple and Spotify. We're going to take our link from Feedburner and upload it to their platform. So first, let's look at Spotify. We're going to need to go to podcasters.spotify.com. This is what this site looks like. It's Spotify for podcasters. This is where you're going to sign up and start your show. So you hit get started. I have a podcast. And where's your podcast? Let's just say any other hosting platform. And this is where you're going to sign in. For me, I'm already logged in. And once you're logged in here, you're going to go to add or claim your podcast. And this is where you are going to upload your show. So you'll hit get started and you'll see here, this is going to be a link to your RSS feed. Now, our RSS feed is with Feedburner. So we're going to go back to our Feedburner account here, and we're going to right click on our show, and we're going to hit copy link. Now let's go back to Spotify for podcasters, and let's paste that link here. It should look like your personal Feedburner URL. So now for Apple, it's the same exact thing, and it's podcasters.apple.com. You're going to want to sign in up here and upload the same URL for your podcast. It is going to take a few days for those platforms to catch up and recognize your show. Don't let that discourage you. Keep making episodes and keep uploading them to your Blogger account. And if you're interested in my podcast, the Part-Time Artist Podcast, there are links in the description to that. Otherwise, if you found this video helpful and you were able to upload your podcast, I want you to give this video a thumbs up and also comment what is your podcast below. I would love to know all of the people that got their podcast up and rolling from watching this video. Now, if you still have questions or if you're still confused about this process, I'm going to put a link to Max Dalton's video where he walks through this process as well. And maybe there's something in there that will make things click for you. It's an older video, so a lot of things aren't laid out the same way anymore, but you can still figure it out if you take the time and if you have the patience. Now, lastly, if you are a creative person, you really should subscribe to my channel because I am putting out videos of all sorts that are going to help you become a better artist. Here is my playlist on artistic advice and awareness to help expand your awareness and consciousness that is going to keep you committed to being a creator. And up here is my playlist on some podcast clips. These are clips from podcasts that I have done in the past if you want to see a little bit about what I do. I hope this video worked. I hope you are now a podcaster. Thank you so much for watching and stay creative.